we can go ahead and start recording. Um, let's jump right in. My name is Chris DeWitt. I'm the director of the Division of System Support at TEA. And that means that all the things we do in this division are about helping districts get more kids in high quality, best fit seats every year. And the next initiative fits right in with that as a support for underperforming elementary campuses. This is how we're gonna spend the time today. I'll give you a quick overview of LASO 4. If you've been in other LASO webinars, this is the same content. Then we'll get into a deep dive, and I'll bring Member Childs on to talk about her vision for next. Then I'll get into some of the elements and grant requirements, and we'll wrap up with some next steps. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, don't hesitate to use the Q&A function. If I'm able to answer the question live, then I will. Otherwise, we'll add it to our Q&A and get you an answer in writing. All of the webinar slides will be added to our LASO 4 website at the conclusion of this webinar. And if you have any follow-up questions, LASO related, you can use this one-stop shop email address, and they will route your question to the right team or individual. Okay. And just to check to my team here, can everyone see my screen? Am I coming in okay?
You're good.
Great. Okay. So quick overview of LASO. LASO stands for Learning Acceleration Support Opportunities. It's a single consolidated application that combines grants, allotments, and in-kind supports into one easy to use platform. There are the total amount of services and supports in LASO 4 total $500 million. There are 15 initiatives that support learning acceleration and innovation, and one application to access that funding. There are four buckets of learning acceleration strategies that we're supporting in LASO 4. First is curriculum and instruction, education and training, more time, and innovative school models. And that's where the next initiative fits in. You can see the full menu here, and next highlighted in red below is one of the newest additions to the LASO portfolio. Great. So like I said, this is the first time, this is the first grant cycle for Next. And I am so excited that we have a guest speaker here, Member Stacy Childs. I'm going to bring her in here. And this is the first time we've had a guest speaker as a panelist here. So and it's going, there you are. I can see Member Childs. Thank you so much for being here.
You can call me
Uh,
Stacey. It's cool. It's fine.
yeah. Oh, thank you, Stacy. This is your brainchild. This is your baby. So would love to give you a chance to talk to us, talk to the participants here about your vision for next, why you felt like this was a need, and what your vision for the grant is.
Sure. Thank you. And I will keep it very brief because I know everybody on the call is busy. Thank you. If you can hear me and see me, this is definitely a day that's a dream come true for me. If you're on this call, you have no idea. I first want to just thank the TA staff that's helped me along this journey. And I want to also recognize my former chief of staff, Mr. Isaiah Davis, who was also a co-thinker of the next program, and my current chief of staff, who is probably on the call, Dr. Celine Verhofstadt, who has helped me continue to see this journey through. I have the pleasure of sitting on the State Board of Education, and throughout that process, we get to tour schools all across the district, and we also get a lot of data from the commissioner and a lot of data from our schools in our districts. And a lot of times we just see who's failing and who's not, who's almost meeting grade level and who's not. And sometimes when a school or a district is resorted down to a number, you really don't get the full story. You don't get the clearest picture of everything that happened during that school year for a district or for a campus to get a certain rating or a certain score. So after a while, I said, well, what are we specifically doing for the students that are at the most lowest performing campuses statewide? And I thought, not only could these students take a slowed down approach where they are getting as much intervention as possible at the earliest years of their life, so in elementary school and at the reading, but what can we do for the parents of those students because they're impacted by this? And then what can we do for the instructional leaders on those campuses too? Because some of the feedback that I've heard during these 3 years since I've been an SBOE member is that we have a lot of professional development for teachers, we have some tutoring for students, but what about us? What about the instructional coaches? What about the assistant principals? What about the principals who may be thwarted into campuses or um, halfway into that story without the professional development and the guidance they need to get them to succeed, right? So that is where Next came from. It is to primarily help students at the lowest performing campuses statewide. It's also to help those parents and those instructional leaders at the campuses that we choose. I know five seems like a very small number to start with, but I figured a pilot program can be small enough and slowed down enough to figure out if we take these campuses and all the instructional leaders, teachers, and parents through the same process and through the same program over a year to 3 years, if it works, we can continue to grow it and add more campuses to this. And it's my goal that maybe in 5, 10, 20 years, we won't need the next program anymore. But right now, I'm really excited that you guys are joining. I hope that you apply and I hope that it works. So, again, thank you for letting me speak. Here's my email address if you have any specific questions. I love touring campuses. So, if you have an opportunity for me to come to your campus, even if you're in District 4 or not, I will happily come. God bless you all. Good luck.
Great. Thank you so much. Um, Much better a messenger than I could ever be. So thank you for being here and thank you for sharing your vision and for your advocacy for this work. Um, I will break this down a little bit further, kind of talk through some of the key elements of the program guidelines, and then we'll wrap up with some next steps at the end here. So, Member Childs, like Stacy was saying, this is about holistic support for the most struggling campuses in the state. Our analysis is there are nearly 300 DNF rated elementary campuses that are not eligible for additional Title I support. So that's kind of the niche that we're going for in the next program. And it is designed for these lowest performing campuses to move them into some of the highest performing elementary schools in the state. So how will Next support these campuses? It really comes down to four main buckets that align with what we just heard. The first is grantees will get intensive support around the implementation of high quality instructional materials in math and RLA. There'll be research backed high impact tutoring and blended learning to provide more personalized support for students. The quarterly family and parent labs are something that I'm really excited about because it's not something that we support in other grant programs that come out of our division. And these performance management routines to drive continuous improvement, to support educators, give them the tools through observation and feedback and coaching and scaffolding to make sure that they're at the top of their game and to drive continuous improvement as we learn and grow through this pilot. In terms of eligibility, we're looking at campuses that are rated D or F in 2025 that are not federally designated as comprehensive, targeted, or additional targeted. That's the niche that I mentioned on the previous slide. And campuses that serve pre-K or kindergarten through fifth grade. Those are our targets to get students, as Stacy said, as early as possible. This is not kind of a part of your campus, right? If we're going to do Next right, it is the whole school. So these are holistic supports to address low performance, to transform the campus system to get better results. To do that, you need strong superintendent buy-in. This isn't like, one program. This is the whole school. We need buy-in from district leadership on down. And we need districts that are committed to engaging parents and community members as partners in this. Part of the requirements are bringing them in and seeing them as partners in educating their students. So we're looking for districts that share that commitment. And then the timeline for Next is the same timeline as LASO. The application opened on the 3rd, and they'll be due on December 3rd, 2025. Um, so this is our first cohort of Next. This is what we're awarding through LASO 4. But as you know, holistic transformation of a campus system is not a one-year project. This is a multi-year project to really set the systems in place to do this right. So what we're looking for applications for now is this first cohort for planning. Um, if districts and campuses meet the planning requirements, then they will be eligible for up to 2 additional years of continuation support that would take you through spring of 2029. And over the course of 4 years, this is the investment that we're making in each campus. You can see the school system grant over that 3-year period will be 325K to spend on staffing, materials, and technology. In-kind technical assistance will not come out of the school system grant. It'll be through a separate contract with one of our regional partners. Part of being in Next is having this best-in-class technical assistance and coaching for campus leaders and teachers, and the additional in-kind supports to fund the quarterly parent labs, the Next convening so that the campuses and districts in this pilot can work together and share their best practices, and we'll cover travel as well. So I'll break down each of those 4 buckets of what Next is all about over the next few slides. So I mentioned that one of the main requirements is the implementation of HQIM and ARBIES. By this, we are defining that as IMRA approved materials. So materials that have gone through the SBOE's IMRA process and have been approved as full subject Tier 1 materials. And the expectation is that these campuses implement ARBIES with fidelity, right? The HQIM is one thing, but the instructional strategies that really put the cognitive lift on students is a core component of making sure that the HQIM delivers the results that we need. The high impact tutoring is also a component here. There is a separate part of the agency that is dedicated to collecting best practices in high impact tutoring. They've done a lot of work on outcomes-based contracting to make sure that vendors who are delivering that high impact tutoring are held accountable to results. And those are some of the best practices that we get to learn from and implement through Next. Things like embedding tutoring in the school day or immediately before or after, having a certain number of student to tutor ratio that is backed by evidence, students working with a consistent tutor and aligning the tutoring to the high quality instructional materials and state standards. We'll also, like I mentioned, enlist parents as partners in this, bringing families onto campus at least 4 times a year for these labs to make sure that parents understand how can they help their student at home. What should their expectations be for their students as they engage in this transformed system at the Next campus. And then embedding all of that work in this continuous improvement framework, like what you see here, getting really clear on what are our expectations in terms of fidelity of implementation? What should we see in classrooms? What should we see in terms of the implementation of the high quality instructional materials? Collecting data um, aligned to each of those things, and then having regular step backs with teacher teams, with campus leadership teams, with the district to understand where are we, where do we want to be, and what are we going to do in the next period of time to get closer to our aspirations for these campuses. So in terms of our grant scoring and methodology, we are the goal is to identify some of the lowest performing elementary schools in the state that are primed for this type of transformation and give them a high level of support to achieve great outcomes for kids. So we've put these priority points together to help us identify what those campuses are in a really objective and transparent way. So 10 points will be awarded to school systems with at least 5 years of unacceptable ratings. 10 points to school systems that have already participated in strong foundations to give us the kind of a demonstration that these campuses are committed to high quality instructional materials. 10 points to school systems that have a fully approved teacher incentive allotment system, demonstrating the commitment to changing some of the operational aspects of their district. 10 points to school systems that have at least one campus with an ADSI calendar, again, showing a demonstration that campuses are committed to evidence-backed innovative practices. And then 10 points to school systems with a 5-day school week. That's a standard priority point across LASO. And so once we get all those priority points, we will rank order all of the um, applicants by their scale score, lowest to highest. Again, trying to prioritize those lowest performing campuses. And then we'll map those scale scores onto the priority points that I just mentioned to land on the 5 campuses that have the look-fors we're most interested in and the need for dramatically improved student outcomes. In the case of a tie, we will award a grant to the campus with the highest percentage of economically disadvantaged students. So definitely refer to the program guidelines for the full list of program assurances and commitments we're looking for next grantees. Some of the highlights here, in terms of fidelity of planning, these are the things that we're really going to prioritize going into this planning year to award any continuation funding for the additional 2 years of support. But we're looking for districts that have made significant changes to their master schedule and their assessment calendar that are aligning to the uh, high fidelity implementation of their high quality instructional materials and RBs. We're looking for a stakeholder engagement plan, which will include how are you going to engage families as partners? And we're looking for professional learning calendars that align with a high degree of support for teachers and instructional coaches. There will be a lot of project management here. And part of the requirements of being a Next grantee will be naming a project manager that is dedicated to Next at least 50% of the time to keep all of the moving parts together. Grantees will adopt and fully implement IMRA-approved high-quality instructional materials in math and reading and commit to hosting these quarterly parent labs for parents and caregivers to better understand how to support their students. The biggest lift here, this is an all-in strategy, right? This is a campus-wide. We need high degree of buy-in from superintendents, from district leaders. The main lift here is going to be with the project managers and campus leadership staff. The project manager I mentioned, at least 50% commitment to Next, and campus leaders who are dedicated to, yes, we're going to participate in this best-in-class coaching from our technical assistance provider. We're going to um, adopt these continuous improvement uh, routines to make sure that all of the shifts we're making are bearing fruit and that we're pivoting where necessary. And here's a more exhaustive list of all the different roles and the time commitment. This is a part of all the materials that are available on the LASO for website. Um, we need some time for superintendents and district leaders to stay engaged, do walkthroughs, get data, ask important questions. The main lift here is going to be for the uh, district project manager, the campus leaders to receive individualized coaching, lead observation and feedback cycles, manage the campus level implementation, and teachers who are getting coached, participating in the biannual convenings, learning from their fellow teachers across the next cohort. So that is next. Let me talk about some next steps, and then we'll see if we have any questions from the group. So we are in fall of 2025. The application window is open. We're in program webinars now. By the end of the month, we'll start office hours. We'll have office hours for next by the end of October. There'll be a frequently asked questions document released by early next month. Applications are due on December 3rd at 5 p.m. Central Time. So um, don't wait till the last minute there. Um, we have, and then right after those applications are due, we'll get into scoring, vetting our applicants. We do not anticipate an interview for next. The awards will be allocated based on the methodology I mentioned on the previous slide. The anticipated announcement for LASO awards is February 2nd, and then NOGAs will be issued in the spring. Um, I'll say once more. Applications for LASO 4 are due on December 3rd, 5 p.m. Central Time. TA already emailed unique application links to superintendents. If for any reason you need a new link, then there's a form available on this deck as well as the LASO website. A PDF of the application is posted already. However, LEAs must submit the application through Qualtrics using the unique application link, and applications must be signed by the superintendent upon submission. If you have questions about LASO in general, office hours for technical assistance will be held on October 29th. Application support will be available on these two dates. The FAQ will be available in early November. And just another plug for that LASO email address. If you have any questions about the process or technical assistance, please reach out to that website or that email address. Quick disclaimer, LASO is an informal discretionary competitive grant process. So declines and change requests are not advisable. If declines are requested, then they will be considered on a case-by-case basis. But the main thing here is to be really strategic about what you're applying for in LASO. We want to make sure that districts are applying for the grants that best meet their needs at the campus and district level. So you have the knowledge that to make informed decisions. We will have another of these webinars tomorrow at 9:30. Same content, and we'll have our office hours on October 27th to answer any questions about Next specifically. And then all these resources are available on the LASO website. One pagers, eligibility and prioritization guidance, the initiative selection tool, again, to help districts make informed decisions about what they apply for, roles and responsibilities related to the information that I provided on the previous slide. And that is the information that I have for you. I'm happy to stay on for and answer any questions that I can. Let me take a look at the chat and let me see if I can answer any of those questions here. There we go. Okay. Are there any requirements for specific tutoring providers that can be used? Great question. So other than compliance with existing legislation and guidance from the agency around tutoring providers, there's nothing separate and apart from that through the next grant. The main goal here is that this is the best tutoring available, right? So I think that is the main guidance here, just like finding tutoring supports that are based in best practices and as much evidence as possible. Embedding outcomes-based contracting there is an emerging best practice to really hold tutoring programs and providers accountable to the results that you need. These are all things that the technical assistance provider will be able to support grantees with. HQIM in reading or math for all grade levels or just one. The expectation for next is that it's high quality instructional materials that are IMRA approved, full subject in math and reading in all grade levels at the campus. And the last question here, if a campus is on the eligibility list, but they only serve grades 5 and 6, then they would really be a good candidate for this grant as it would be a holistic school program. That is a great question. So I believe on the eligibility list, if there are campuses that served any grades within pre-K through 5, then we kept them on the eligibility list. I think this is a strategic question for the district. Is this something that really needs the holistic support that Next would provide? If so, we invite you to apply. If not, if this is one grade level that could really benefit from some other strategy, then those are the decisions that districts are making right now. Uh, Member Charles, thank you for sticking around. Yes, we'd love to bring
Yes,
you in.
I put a screenshot that I got from our superintendent, if I just can read it. We aren't under federal supervision because our closing the gaps rating was a C, but we are under state level supervision because of our 3F rating. Are we still eligible?
Let me make sure I understand. Are they currently D or F rated on the state accountability system?
Correct.
And they're not comprehensive, targeted, or additional targeted?
Right.
Then I believe they should be eligible based on those two criteria. If that superintendent is not seeing their campus on the eligibility list, just have them reach out to me and I'll make sure to double check that.
Okay.
Great. Those are the questions. Oh, where do we find the eligibility list? Donna, maybe we can copy that link in. It is on the LASO website under next, and we'll make sure to send that out. We'll see if we can grab it now and put it in the chat. As we hunt that down, I'm happy to stay on for a few more minutes if anyone has any additional questions. But let's go ahead and we can go ahead and stop recording, And thank you so much for your interest in Next. Thank you, Stacy, for being here and sharing your vision for Next. And thank you for your advocacy again. We look forward to seeing everyone's applications.